Okay, so I want to show you a easy way to manage information, to display information so that distributive multiplication problems can be made easier and simpler to do and also to review and check for errors. So imagine that you're given this problem, uh, this one that's 2x minus 3, the quantity of that, times negative 3x squared plus 5x minus 1, the quantity of that. So there's two factors here, two things that are being multiplied together, that one and that one. And when they're being multiplied together, that means that this 2x term has to be multiplied to all of these three terms. And this minus 3 term has to also be multiplied to all of these three terms. So before I used a grid to organize my information, what I would have done is drawn a whole bunch of lines like this to sort of tell myself what to multiply. And I would have drawn, 3 of them from each term and 3 like that. And as you can see, it gets kind of messy. I could do some above and below, but it's still messy. So instead of doing it that way, I create grids that have along one axis the terms from one factor and along the other axis the terms from the other factor. So since there's 2 terms, I need to draw a grid that's 2 rows, and since there's 3 terms in the second term, I need to have a grid that has 3 columns. And now I have a 2 by 3 grid that will organize the 6 products that I get from multiplying each pair of terms together. So for this cell, I would need to multiply 2x times negative 3x squared. I'm just multiplying the row and the column of the cell together to get the product. So 2x minus 3x squared, it's a negative number times a positive number, so that's going to give me a negative result. 3 times 2 is 6. X times x squared is x to the third. That's 1x power, 1x factor times 2x factors gives me 3x factors. And I can do the same for this term, 2x times 5x equals 10x squared. This term is 2x times negative 1, that'll give me negative 2x. This term is negative 3x squared times negative 3. This term is negative 3 times 5x, and this term is negative 3 times negative 1. So once I've done all the multiplication, I can then combine like terms. Here, there's only, among all these terms, there's only one x cubed term. So there's nothing really to combine, I just do that term here. Among the other terms, these are squared terms, 10x squared and 9x squared, so I add them up to get 19x squared. Negative 15x and negative 2x, you add those to get negative 17x, and then there's only one non-x term, 3, so I just list it there. And that's the answer for this multiplication. Now, some of you use FOIL. Some of you use other techniques to organize your information. I really advocate doing this. If I had made a mistake and I was checking this against a friend's work, we would have been able to root out the mistake very quickly because I have listed out in plain sight all the different products that I use to combine to get these terms. And not only that, the grid shows me where the products came from. That this 9x squared comes from negative 3 times negative 3x squared, for example. So I can tell the heritage of each product, and they're all listed for me clearly using this method. So I highly advocate doing it. Forget FOIL. FOIL's not going to help you if you have not just a binomial times a binomial. This thing will work for any number of terms times any number of other terms.